Sakshi Jain, a product marketer at Frappe. I would like to welcome all of you to the webinar. We're excited to have you here. Today, we'll be looking at insights in which the product owner Saqib, who is here with us today, will take you through the latest version of the product. Before we dive into the webinar, I would like to introduce Saqib. He's a developer at Frappe and the maker of Insights. But what is Insights all about? It's a BI tool that can be used with any data source from MariaDB to CSV. And from the last webinar until now, Saqib has been working really hard to come up with more exciting features, and that's what the webinar is all about. If you missed the first webinar in which he talks about the fundamentals of Frappe Insights, I'll drop that link in the chat. And there's one more instruction. Please ensure your first name and the last name are reflecting on your Zoom account because it will help us answer your questions later in the Q&A session. Without further ado, let's get started. Saqib, over to you.
Thank you, Arishi. So let me start by sharing screen first. Hello, everyone. I'm here to showcase all the new features that I have been working on past couple of months. So let me start with the agenda. First, I will give you a brief introduction of Insights for those who are new. Then I will go through the new data sources and what's new in connecting data. Then there is a major rework in the data exploration capabilities of Insight, and then alerts, notification, and rest of the features. So Frappe Insights is a business intelligence tool. It aims to compete with the likes of Metabase. So you can connect to multiple data sources in Frappe Insights all in one place and then perform complex operations, make simple reports to help you with your ERP next data, create interactive dashboards for management, and set up alerts and notification to monitor your business. Let's start with what's new in data sources. So now you can connect to my PostgreSQL database also, and you can also upload CSVs. You can just upload a CSV and map the columns, the types, and the data will be imported as a data source in your Insights instance. And then you can go on doing making reports, queries, dashboards, etc. There's also a new, easier way to connect to your data source. It just requires you to enter a simple connection string. So previously you have to enter the host port, database name, username, password, all these. And there's also another standard way to connect to databases using the connection string. Connection string is nothing but the concatenated string of all these initials. Once you add the database, the tables are going to be imported into your. Just the tables are important, not the data. You can view the tables going into the data sources. Okay. So the major part of the features, the major part of the rework done in Insights is in the exploration. So previously there was only one way to make queries and reports. That has been renamed to Classic, and there are two more new interfaces to solve specific problems. So let's look at the old one. So in the old query builder, there were three sections. You can select tables, columns, and filters. There were some problems with this. First, let's look at an example query, how you make a query with the classic query builder. For context, this is the example data. There are orders, tables, or doc types, if you understand that. Then there are order items, and these two are connected via this order ID column. So previously, in the classic query builder, you go on to select the post. So this query is about finding the average of order value that has been the trend of the order value over time. First, I select the orders table, and then to get the month, I'm going to select the purchase or purchase timestamp, which is the date at which the order was purchased by the person, and then format it to. So this is the way you selected a column table. Then for joins, you had to click on the table, which was a little confusing to the users. And then from the order items, you get the average of the price and you get the report. Visualization is as it is. So there were problems, like there were too many SQL jargons. People who don't know enough about SQL get confused, like what is the first step, what is the second step. That means there is no clear sequence, and there was not enough context about a query. Like for example, what is this query about? The title just enough doesn't explain it. If the query gets complicated, then it is difficult to compose query. What I mean by composing is you make certain intermediate queries or subqueries and then create a final query. This final query depends on the intermediate queries. So if you directly go to the final query, it is very difficult to understand which query this composed query depends on. And then it is also difficult to revisit a particular query. So this is the first interface which solves the some of the problems. Let's take a look at how this works. First, making the same query that we made. So you start with the table, select the orders table, and then combine it with the order items. Once you select the order items, the join condition automatically gets fixed. Then you summarize it, summarize the average of price of the item by the purchase timestamp, formatted as month. So this is so much easier to read. So now with this interface, probably there are less SQL jargon for people who are not familiar with SQL terminologies. Then it is better to read the query, what's going on with the data. And it is also future-proof in the sense that adding a new step, for example, a pivoting step at the end of the query is much more easier than adding a pivot step in the old query builder. There are still some problems, like it is still difficult to compose with this interface and context. We still don't have context about complex queries. So to solve these, there is another interface called Insights Notebook. This is similar to, the concept is similar to the Jupyter Notebook, which devs might be aware of. in Jupyter Notebook, there are cells of text and code block. So in the text block, you will write some description about what you are going to do, and then in the code block, there is the code to do the stuff. Similar to that, Insights Notebook also has these block concepts. You can add markdown, label, images, etc. For the context or description. Then you can go on adding queries like SQL block or visual SQL block, the two interfaces. So let me give you a short demo to understand this better. So first, to make it easier to understand, this is the table that I have. Like very simple schema. The customers orders, payments, reviews, orders, products, etc. So to create a notebook, I can simply create a new notebook or notebook page. But for the demo, let's click on the new page. And this is just a template to get you started. Basically, before starting an analysis, I should write what I'm going to be doing here. So first, let's say we want to find out top 10 repeating customers. So let's say this is customer satisfaction analysis. You can add more stuff, like maybe let's say you want the results to be in this specific format. Let's say customer name and then because this just needs the repeating customers, that means I just want to find out the customer name who have ordered who have made an orders repeatedly, like every month or every year, or more than 2 orders. So there will be a customer name. Now you so you go on, add a SQL block or a visual SQL block and selecting the corrective resource. Start with customers and go on creating your query, basically. So this is a complex query which involves two different queries. So maybe I should not take this as an example. Let's say simple orders by month. And then just for demonstration. So simply make the summaries count of records others by execute the results and get the results. Once you make the query, you can add the chart, select the previous query written, and you get the chart. So this way you can make some complex analysis. You can do complex analysis too. Like for example, this one. Okay, let's get back here. So yeah, that was Insights Notebook. There is also alerting feature now. You can create email and Telegram alerts. For Telegram alerts, you have to get to credentials, bot token, chat ID, pretty standard stuff in others as well. So for alert you can create on each query, and let's this is a this is an example of a query which tracks the revenue, monthly revenue, and on that query I have created a goal goal alert. Like anytime the value of a specific row changes to 10,000, this alert will be triggered. This checks once a day. Then there is sharing and embedding. You can now share a particular dashboard to anyone who has access to insights or who doesn't have access to insights also. There is also embedding. There is a common use case where people want to uh, show the insights chart into Rapid workspace, frameworks workspace, or Yapinx workspace. So here I'm just copying the link from the chart you want to see on the workspace. Click on share and then copy the iframe link and then simply paste it here into a new doc type in framework called custom HTML block. And now in your workspace, just add this block. And this chart refreshes every time the data changes in your insights. Then there are more planned, more exciting features to come. There is a very common feature requested for pre-built dashboard or importing and exporting dashboards. So this is also in the works. Then using the notebook now, it is much more easier to add complex analysis capabilities. Like now we can have a Python script block, and then you can write pandas code and then do flexible analysis. There's also an insights OpenAI integration coming up. This can pretty much do everything. This will probably do everything, like generating queries, executing queries. You can even learn how insights work from here. Like basically the docs will be integrated here. You can ask a question about how to do this, and this will probably explain you step by step. That's it for now. Let's start with the
You can start adding your questions in the Q&A section, and Saqib will be taking up the questions one by one. We have a question, Saqib, from Saida. Do we have formula field too, or only average sum?
So there are custom expressions also. There are custom functions for now, like for example, case statements and countf statements, etc. So there it is possible to write complex columns.
There's another question. Is there any documentation about this feature and upcoming ones?
So the documentation for the new stuff, the reworked visual and notebook interfaces, those are not up to date because it is right now in the develop branch only. It will be merged soon enough with a stable release, and the documentation will be updated.
Okay.
Yeah, I can take it. So Insights is developed on Vue.js. It is developed using Frappe UI and Vue.js. So Frappe UI also depends on Vue.js. And the same version, yes, the same version is available on the GitHub. The develop branch contains all this stuff. The Insights Copilot one is still yet to be merged. It is the pull request has been opened.
We have another question.
The most important aspect is self-capability wherein user can change filters themselves into the group on the chat. Yes, there is a plan to add charts, filters on the individual charts itself, just like framework has. It will all be configurable. So for permissions, there is so permissions are by default disabled. Once you enable the permissions are still not yet stable because I didn't find many people using it. But for access level, so each dashboard you create will be hidden by default, will only be visible to you. And once you enable the permissions, you can share it with specific team, and you can add team members to a specific list.
Saqib, we have a question inside that.
Yeah. We have two pages. Dashboard I want to share. First page to one team and second page to different team. 2 pages dashboard. So yes, you can share a specific dashboard to one specific team and another dashboard to another specific team. But the dashboard has to be separate.
Okay, we have no more questions. Thank you, Saqib, for for showing us all these exciting features of Frappe Insights. And we'll be looking forward to many more such upcoming features. I hope everybody got a better idea of how they can use Insights. And if you have any doubts, you can ask on our TG group. I'll drop a link to that as well. Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Saqib.